Welcome to the Advisors Fuel podcast, where high-performing financial planners and wealth advisors discover proven processes and actionable strategies to elevate their client experience, grow their businesses faster, and achieve unprecedented success. Here's your host, Adam Koós, founder at Adrenaline Advisor Consulting at adrenalineadvisor.com.
Welcome to the Advisors Fuel podcast, a show created for high-performing financial planners and wealth advisors who want to implement real systems, scale smarter, and grow faster with less stress. This podcast is powered by Adrenaline Advisor Consulting, the coaching community and framework designed to help you build a better business and a more rewarding life. And we drop new episodes monthly featuring solo strategy breakdowns, real advisor stories, and behind-the-scenes insights from firms that are crushing it. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and be sure to follow Adrenaline on Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And if you're curious about how the Adrenaline program could help you and your firm, just head over to adrenalineadvisor.com to learn more. All right, let's get this thing started. Today, we're talking about how high performers don't just wing it. We're going to talk about a proven planning process that separates the top 5% from everybody else. And what I mean by that is I think too many times as advisors, we're really analytical people. I think too many times we just kind of jump into the snake pit and we just start working. I don't think we plan enough. In fact, I think that planning, and I mean stepping back and really looking at the big picture, is something we probably need to do a whole lot more of. But the problem is I think that too many of us think it's too warm and fuzzy. They think it's too fluffy. They think that it's just not necessary. So we're going to kind of break the mold a little bit today and jump into the material and talk about why maybe it's not so fluffy and why it's necessary. It's something that I do every single year. I revise my plan and map out my own future, even though it's changing obviously every year, but even though my long-term future plans don't really change all that much. So advisors, we plan everything for our clients: financial planning, retirement income planning. We plan their portfolio management, their investment management. We plan taxes for them. We do tax planning. We do insurance planning for everything from long-term care insurance, life insurance, property and casualty, liability umbrellas, estate planning. So we plan everything for our clients, but we rarely plan for ourselves. It's almost like doctors. Doctors are the worst patients, they say, right? So top advisors, they design their future. Whether it's personal, professional, they're doing it intentionally. And they don't just hit their goals and become successful by total accident. Trust me, that's not the case. This is all about how they do it, and again, without winging it. So there's a 5-part plan here. And think of this like building a house. The first part of the plan is their values or your values. That's the foundation. What is it? What means a lot to you? What's important to you? Why are you doing this? Your purpose. So the frame of the house. The next would be your vision. That will be your drywall, the infrastructure. As we start kind of drywalling the house out here, that's your vision for the future, both personally and business-wise. Then your mission. This is the interior and exterior finish. And then last but not least is your goals. This is your car leaving the driveway and making it all happen. And without a solid foundation, everything else literally will collapse, or at least it'll just stall and you won't go anywhere. And you don't need to master all 5 of these pieces of framework, by the way. You just have to get started. Honestly, you just have to find a good time to squirrel away. I wouldn't argue that it doesn't take a whole day to do this the right way, but I think it probably does. So if you just someplace quiet and someplace where nobody's going to bother you, the phone's not ringing, and that includes your cell phone, by the way. You're not going to get distracted by email. It's a time to literally sit down, clear your mind, focus on your future, think about your business, where you are, where you've been, where you want to go, and then start writing down what you want, what you're doing compared to what you want to be doing, and then how you're going to get where you want to go. So when you talk about the foundation and frame here, we got to think about what matters most to you. What are the non-negotiables? What are the things that are absolutely important, things you have to do? And by the way, this doesn't always have to be business. A non-negotiable might be, I want to make sure I'm there for all of my kids' sporting events, no matter what. It doesn't matter if we have a, $5 million prospect coming in the door and they want to meet, and the only day they can meet is during that sporting event or that activity that my kid's doing. Well, it's a non-negotiable. I just can't do it. So that'd be one of your, one of the things you just will not negotiate. So you need to rank your top 5 values. And when you rank your top 5 values, I want you to then compare them to what you're actually doing in your calendar. So I'll give you an example. I'm looking at mine over here. If you take your top 5 values, and you don't have to do 5, I did 8. You can do more, as many as you want. You want to spend, X amount of time on those things. And then, so you want to see, what are you actually spending that time on? So for instance, for me, health, it was up there, family, financial prosperity, fun and happiness. Alone time is really important to me. I'm an extrovert, but I also need my alone time. I need to kind of churn off. Education. I'm just a sponge for information. I like to learn. Helping others, generosity, giving my time away, and then friends. And when I'm looking at a really old one here. This actually goes back 15 years. Is the 30-day journey that I'm looking at. And when I look at how much time I spent 4% of my time on my health. I spent 38% of my time on my family, which is good. 47% of my time on financial prosperity. Fun and happiness, 0. Alone time, 1%. Education, 1%. Helping others and generosity, I put hard to quantify. So that's probably 0. And then time with friends, I put 9%. And that's actually higher than I thought it was going to be. So this is how you do this exercise. Again, it doesn't have to be 5, but you rank whatever the top, 5, 8, 10 values that are most important to you. And then you put down how many hours per week, or waking hours that is, are you spending doing these things, and then turn it into a percentage and figure out, what does that look like? How much time are you spending on those things? And then create another column and put down the percentage of time you want to be spending on those things. And it starts to get pretty clear all of a sudden what you want out of your life and your career and what you're actually doing right now. From there, again, does your time reflect the values that you have in it? Because if it doesn't, it's kind of like if you've ever done a DISC assessment, it's the difference between your natural and adapted style. If your natural style, if the things that make you happiest are these top, let's just say 5 things, and you're not spending almost any time on those things, or not spending enough time on those things, what's going to happen? You're just going to burn out, because you're adapting your energy to do these other things, and you can only do that for so long because it takes so much more energy, mental energy, and heart to do those things that maybe aren't necessarily aligning with your values. And then you want to think about what drives you when things get difficult, because inevitably, and especially in this business, things get tough. Whether that's market driven, whether that's things with issues with clients, issues with staff. It's not an easy business. And then start thinking about the things that make you alive. What really jazzes you up? What gets you excited? What makes you wake up every morning and go to work? Think about things like your unique ability. That's why it's like the Dan Sullivan thing. What are you great at? And your unique ability, as Dan Sullivan says, is the thing that you do that's talent based. It's the thing that nobody else can do at your firm but you. It's the thing you're best at. You truly love it. And it's perhaps that one thing that you wish you could just do all day, every day. And if you spent your time doing nothing but that, then you would be immensely successful. So think about that. What is your unique ability? What are you truly great at? And if money weren't an issue, but you still went to the office every day, so again, it's not retirement here, but if money weren't an issue, but you still had to go to the office, how would you spend your time there? What do you want out of your career and your life? And how does that align with what you're actually doing? Next, we want to get into what your mission is. Personal vision, your mission, business, personal. Define your ideal life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I like to look at things 1 year out, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. And when you do this, try not to limit yourself. Don't give yourself any filters. Just try to get completely open. Again, that's why I think it's so important when you do this exercise to go someplace quiet, put away or at least turn off your email. I'm not going to say put away your laptop. You're probably using your laptop, but turn off your phone or put it in airplane mode, set it aside, get very clear about what it is you want out of life. And then write out in detail what your perfect day is. So we've already started talking about values, what you want out of life from a value standpoint, and what you're spending that time on now and how different or similar it is. Now what we want to do is say, okay, 5 years from now, and you can pick whatever you want. It can be 5 years, it can be 10 years. What does your perfect day look like? It could be 3 years from now. And when I say write out your perfect day, I mean get super, super specific. Your perfect day begins with the second you open your eyes in the morning and what you see, what you smell, how you feel. When you get out of bed, what's next? What do you do? What's your routine? Do you do you brush your teeth first? Do you go to the bathroom? Do you get a cup of coffee? Do you go sit outside and look outside at the view that you have on your back deck? What do you eat for breakfast? Do you go to the gym? What do you do at the gym? When you go to the gym, what car keys do you pick up to get there? And what does it sound like to hear the car start? What does it feel like to finish that workout? So you can see where I'm going here. This is going to be a long project because you're going to write out everything you do all day long on a perfect typical day. Now, you can write this out for a day off if you want to make this like a Saturday, or if you don't want to work Fridays, make it a Friday that you wouldn't normally work. Maybe you do a little bit of work from home and that's it. Or you can make this an office day. And if you really want to be an overachiever, you can do both. Do a perfect day for a work day and a perfect day for your off day. And then when you have this perfect day down, this is going to include everything that you want. And when I say perfect day, I mean you have everything you want. This is a perfect day. You have the things you want. You have the people you want in your life. You're spending your time on the things that you want to be spending your time on. So when you read out this perfect day, it should make you feel really, really good. And the visualization, and this is where, by the way, this is where financial advisors start to think this is fluffy. Maybe there's just not, it's not, I don't know. It's just not for them. I just want to write down my goals and go and do it. And that's fine. But, who do you want to be when you grow up? Are you being that person now? How are you going to show up at work in your life? And when you start writing out these statements of the things you want to do and you want to be and how you want to change your life, how you want to make your values align with what you're actually doing, write out a bunch of statements that says, I'm going to do this by doing this so I can do this. So I will do blank by doing blank so that I can blank. Then think about your business goals. And this is where you can start talking about revenue. You can start thinking about AUM. You can talk about staff. You can start writing these things down, figuring out where you want to be. Think about how many referrals you want to get per year and from who. It might be X number of referrals from clients, Y number of referrals from COIs. So start writing all these things down and then think big, don't hold back. And when you start looking at all these things, you can start actually putting them places where you'll see them every day. Now, I know you're probably not going to read your perfect day every day, but reading your perfect day once a week, even once a month, it's kind of like I did a podcast or a course recently where I said, the best software is the software you're going to use. I'm sure you've heard quotes like that before, but if you're going to, however often you're going to use this thing and use your goals and look at them, that's the best way to do it. And then from there, and I'm cheating a little bit here at the bottom, but I know that we've all heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. That's all fine and good, but really it comes down to aligning your goals with your values, your purpose, and then knowing, what are you willing to trade off to get what you want? Matt Halloran, one of my coaches way back in the day, he said, whatever it is you want in life, you have to be willing to give up something of equal or greater value to get it. Let's say that one more time. So whatever it is you want in life, you have to be willing to give something up of equal or greater value in order to get it. So what are you willing to trade off in order to get these things? Whatever it is you want. And maybe the things you want are things that are more personal. So what you're going to have to trade off is maybe time at work. Maybe you're going to have to do better at delegation, things like that. So maybe it's upside down compared to what maybe some people might be thinking more, I want to make more money. I want to get more AUM. I want to be more successful, financially speaking. So the big goals need to be chipped away at. We need to break them down from a 3-year goal to a 1-year goal to a quarterly goal to a weekly goal. And that's where we start taking business plans and marketing plans, and we take your goals and we put them into an annual business plan. From there, we put it into a quarterly business planning meeting. And then from there, we break it down into weekly meetings so that we're paying attention to all the metrics that are hugely important in order to hit all these goals, so that you can one day hit all these goals both on a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year basis, and then build that perfect day out that you write down. Some of these goals, I'm just going to use an income goal as an example, because what gets measured gets done. If you don't visualize things, it's probably not going to happen. But I so strongly believe that if you visualize things, if you write these things down, if you look at them often, it's going to happen. You're going to make it happen because you're going to see it all the time. So think about, how much money do you want to make? And I'm just throwing a number out here. Let's just say you want to net $480,000 per year. That would be $40,000 a month, right? So if you take $480,000 net and you divide that into 60%, so let's take out the taxes, that would put you up to $800,000 in gross income. Now, $800,000 in gross income over 52 weeks times 4 days a week, if you want to take Fridays off, that's 208 days. 208 days minus 20 holidays, because that's 10 NYSE holidays. Maybe you take another, extra 10 days off for, times like, whenever there's a holiday on a Friday or a Thursday or a Wednesday, and you maybe take off an extra day in between or 2 days to make it a longer weekend, Thanksgiving, Juneteenth, things like that. Now we're down to 188 days. those 188 days, now we got to take vacation days out. How many vacation days do you want to take? How much time do you want off? I put 35. That brings me down to 153 days. If I work 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, times 153 days, that's 1,530 hours per year. And if I divide $800,000 in gross income by 1,580, that gives me $800 an hour. So that's the kind of hourly work that I'm doing or need to be doing in order to be successful. And the reason I bring this up is because there are so many things that we do as financial advisors that we should not be doing. And when we start writing down our goals, writing down our perfect day, and we're looking at where we want to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years from now, we have to start with the end in mind. We have to start asking ourselves, if our unique ability is X and we want to make Y in income, in order to get there, we have to start acting like we are that person now. We have to start acting that way right now. Otherwise, we're never going to get there. So again, what gets measured, is what ends up getting done. And now from here, the excuses start, right? Well, I don't have time to do this. Or like I mentioned a couple times, this feels too warm and fuzzy for me. This is just not my thing. Or I'm doing fine. I'm totally fine. And maybe you are. Maybe I suppose there's probably some of you out there that are like, you know what, I'm totally fine. I'm just listening to this podcast right now because, I think that I like listening to business podcasts, and I like especially listening to podcasts that are about my business and the financial advisory world. So if you're fine, you're making the money you want, you're spending time with your family, you're getting lots of time off, and you're living the dream at your office, doing the things that you love doing that really recharge you and make you happy, then kudos to you. I think that's awesome. But you're one of the few, because most of us aren't doing that. The truth is that the top 5% make the time to plan these things, because if they don't plan it, it's not going to happen. It's so easy to get into cruise control. It's so easy to get to organize and reorganize and keep reprioritizing and keep planning and replanning and changing things constantly instead of just executing. So you have to design what you want, and then you have to execute it, which is the harder thing to do. It's simple, but it's just not easy. But it's way better to design a plan, execute it, and it's going to work for you. Again, if you use this visualization technique. And when you finally finish this project, trust me, you're just going to wish that you would have started earlier. It's like our clients. When they come in and see us and they go through our planning process and we tell them when they can quit working, we tell them they're going to be okay, their money's going to outlive them. And then at the end of the process, they say, man, I just wish I would have started earlier. I wish I would have come and seen you earlier. I wish I would have started saving earlier. That's what again, back to the doctors of the worst patients, that's what we need to be doing. So all we need to do is just start. Just get started. One last tip I'll throw out there, aside from having your goals all written out, both personal and professional, so personal and business goals, aside from having your perfect day written out, which I did years and years and years ago and revised it over time, what you want to do, as I already mentioned, reading your perfect day at least once a month. Again, reading it, pick the frequency that you're going to do. Don't say I'm going to read it every week and then not read it every week. Definitely don't say I'm going to read it every day and then not read it every day. But take those personal and business goals. I stole this idea from Ron Carson way back in the day, 20 years ago at this point. And take your take your goals and write them down on a piece of paper. Or if you want to do handwriting, you can do handwriting. I type them out because my handwriting is awful. Put your personal goals in red. Put your business goals in blue. Rank them by priority. It doesn't matter how many you have as long as they fit on one Microsoft Word document. You might want to make the font larger, something like 20, 22, 24 point font. But put your goals down on paper, rank them by priority, and then if you don't have a laminator, just go to a FedEx Kinko store, something like that, have it laminated by somebody there, and then hang them in your shower. I know it sounds weird, but I love having my goals sitting in front of me every single day when I wake up and I get a chance to look at it while I'm taking a shower. We all take showers. I think most of us take showers relatively frequently, hopefully anyway. So by putting your goals up in your shower, all you take is a command strip, throw it up there, put a hole puncher in it, and hang it from the command strip. Your spouse might think it's a little weird at first, but you know what? Put some goals up there, your personal goals. I bet you're going to have some up there that have something to do with your spouse or your kids or your grandkids for that matter. So having those up there and having your spouse see those goals might offer a little bit of additional accountability. For me, I never really thought too much about my wife seeing my goals, but I just liked having them up there again because I love seeing them every day. My first goal was always go to the gym And then the second goal was always, if you didn't make it to the gym today, then you're going after work. So that's an example of just seeing that every day, staying positive, and then maybe even throwing some good positive words of affirmation on there, just telling yourself you can do it, like pump you up type stuff. So anyway, I hope this was valuable. If you have any interest at all in the Adrenaline program, please check it out. You have all the socials up here on your screen. We have adrenalineadvisor.com. You can reach out to us at info@adrenalineadvisor.com or scan that QR code right there to get on our list for the next group intro call to find out more about the program. But otherwise, there are thousands and thousands of podcasts out there. You chose to give ours a listen today, so thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Advisors Fuel podcast. For more articles, videos, and resources, or to schedule an intro call, visit adrenalineadvisor.com. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for financial or legal advice. Always talk to your compliance department before implementing any of the ideas shared in this episode.